can be anything you want. You can be everything you choose. You're not letting away.
We've been talking about the future of work, and the future of work is here. One of my greatest sorrows in working with organizations and individuals going through transformation is also one of my greatest frustrations. And that is conversations I repeatedly have with individuals who are right-minded and right-hearted, but bumping up against mindsets, bumping up against assumptions that fundamentally stop them from being the success that they need to be and achieving what they need to achieve. And frankly, I address this head on, as I'm going to do with you here. I don't know which, if any, of these excuses fall on you as something that you've repeatedly used in your life, but it's absolutely important that when you're trying to achieve extraordinary things, there are no excuses. One of the examples I use in the book is an example of my foster son. Now, when my foster son was not meeting me in the way that I thought a young man being given all of this wonderful opportunity should be greeting the individual who wanted to be his father and wants to make him extraordinarily happy and successful, I thought that I would be embraced with open arms. But instead, I was embraced with anger and fear and pushback. And it makes sense. Both of my foster sons had been in many, many homes before they were in my home. And as a result, they've repeatedly learned what it was like to live in a world where individuals were disappointing them, where promises were broken. But just imagine if I had met these young boys in a position where I had said, well, when you behave as I expect you to behave, when you would behave like my son, then I'll be your father. That's not acceptable. Just as it's not acceptable in the workplace when we're trying to achieve extraordinary things for us to step up and claim that we want other people to behave the way we want them to behave in order for us to behave as the leaders we need to be today. So with this module, with this video, and with this chapter, I want you to eliminate any visible idea that it's somebody else's responsibility to meet you in this transformation. The chapter is called It's All on You, 100% on you, to seize responsibility, to manage the relationships, to take charge, to push the edges of the envelope. Here are 6 excuses that I consistently see as a result of my work with organizations that I hope you never succumb to. The first one is the excuse of ignorance. Listen, after this video series, you should fundamentally understand that the individuals that you need to be on your team are the individuals that you have identified as critical to getting the work done, and whether they report to you is irrelevant. And then the way you meet them and the way you treat them is in exactly the same way you would have with an individual that was in the past a direct report of yours. It's an individual that you have to focus on your commitment to them, their success. You have to focus on lifting them up, understanding their dreams and goals. All of those areas, you have to enlist individuals, and that takes a lot of hard work. And the fact that you weren't aware that you need to reach out to people at that level of intensity and that level of generosity is no longer on the table as an excuse. Ignorance is no longer an excuse. Now, I've got to admit, the other one is just laziness. A lot of people say, Keith, you don't understand, I am so busy right now, and you're expecting me to lead without authority with all of these new individuals. I just can't get it done. I can't possibly do that kind of work at that level of intensity, given everything I have. Well, here's the problem. You have to. That might mean that you need to go out and find other individuals to work with you on the things that you used to work with and leverage you better so that you can take on these new hills and take on this new leadership. But I have to tell you, laziness and your inability to step up and do this extra work, this is leadership today. You have to do it. We have to do it. We can't abdicate responsibility because we don't have time. We have to find the time to lead in this way in order to be extraordinary. Deference. Deference is an excuse that I see all the time. Individuals who don't believe it's their responsibility to manage up. Don't believe it's their responsibility to reach out and coach an individual from another group or division. They don't believe that it's their responsibility or it's their role, it's their place to speak truth to power. There is no room for deference. I'm not saying being disrespectful. I'm saying there's no room for stepping back and just assuming that your small place in an organization is where you deserve. You cannot defer to individuals that are crucial to engage face-to-face, peer-to-peer with. In the new world of transformation, deference will actually hold you back. Playing the victim. Playing the victim is an excuse and is a detriment to many organizations and to many individuals. It's one I see in many people's personal lives. It's one I see in many large organization transformations. I see people point the finger at other people in the company as to why work can't get done, why I can't get work done. It's because of them. It's because of that policy. It's because of those individuals. It's because of that function. No, there's no victimization. The way I actually contort that, or it's because of that leader's style or that person's temper. I don't give a damn about any of those things. You are not a victim to other people's behaviors. You are not a victim to policies. Think about things that stand in your way, people that stand in your way, as nothing more than market forces. Market forces is what I coach individuals to. What I mean by that is, if you were an entrepreneur and the competition came on board and they created a new product, or they created a marketing campaign in some way that was mean and cruel against you, whatever it is, those are just market forces. You respond to market forces. You don't let market forces crumble you. You don't let them freeze you like a deer in the headlights. You step up and you do whatever is needed to be done to respond to difficult situations. I mean, along the way, if Uber had been a victim to the fact that certain cities were not going to allow them to run their automobiles in their particular cities and had those contracts with Uber drivers, then they would have stopped the whole company. They were never victims. No good entrepreneur is a victim to what other people put in your way. And that's one thing you've got to stomp out, is that kind of victim mindset. Cowardice is another one. I mean, people just being afraid of stepping up and stepping out of their comfort zone. We've always been working in this comfort zone, and we're often cowards, not willing to step up and take the reins, and not willing to step up and engage with people that in the past we thought were too important for us to engage in, or dare to take a goal that's so big. Right? So we've got to stop being cowards in our life. We've got to take the first step. And the final is indulgence. Indulgence is probably one of the most insidious of the excuses. It's the excuse that happens when you have gotten so comfortable being disengaged with a group of individuals. I know companies where two executives have grown over a period of time to not trust each other, not like each other, and as a result, the divisions, the functions, they don't even work with each other at all, and it erodes massive value in the company because of individuals' indulgence of feeling good about disliking another individual. That's just pitiful, and it's the worst form, the most insidious form, but I see it all the time. The way we need to step up and change is to recognize that humbly, this whole thing that we're about to do is my responsibility. Not is it my responsibility, but it's my opportunity. Let's flip that. It's my chance. It's my opportunity to step up. Now, as a part of that, I've got to realize if I've got an individual who is stressed or strained in a relationship with me, between me and achieving all the things I want to achieve, if there's an individual standing in my way that I couldn't even imagine that person could be on my team, the first thing I've got to ask myself is, what's my part? Always ask yourself, what's my part in that relationship? And then right behind it, sometimes it's important to give up being right. So many times there's people that we need to work with to achieve extraordinary things, where the stress and the strain of the relationship is such that we've got to be the first people to step up and say, where do I need to give up being right? I will often ask clients of mine in large organizations a question. I say, who in your life is it time to stop being right with? Who in your life? And often the answer I get back is not necessarily first in the workplace, but it's even in our personal lives. Is there anybody you have a strained relationship with in your life that you've finally just got to step back and say, This strained relationship causes me strife. It causes other people around me and my family strife. And as a result, it is my ability to engage in that relationship and stop being right and start working with this individual differently. Who are those individuals? And you have to recognize it's 100% on you. No matter how difficult or strained the relationship is or how new and fresh the relationship is, we own opening those relationships to the co-creation of this extraordinary mission that we're about to go on, this goal that we have. And I'm about to teach you how to open individuals up to you and your leadership, but you've got to stop by eliminating all the excuses. Please, as you see any of those excuses, the first thing I would ask you to reflect on is, which ones do I use? I want you to be humble and ask yourself, which one of these do you cling to? Because the longer you cling to them, they're just going to take you under.